Hello there everyone and welcome to a new review on the channel, and today we are going to be looking at another new release by ALAKAZAM Magic and Craig Petty, and that is Monsters, a Halloween marketed trick that in my opinion is good for any time of day, but that is Monsters. So let's learn more about this because I really enjoy it. So let's roll the intro and get straight into the review. Perfect. So you decide to stick around, which means you want to learn more about Monsters. So what is Monsters by Craig Petty? Monsters by Craig Petty is essentially a project in which you're going to be able to do various different type of effects, whether it's card magic or mentalism, with some really beautiful and well-produced monster cards. So I won't be able to perform the entire project for you because there's like 10 plus routines. So I'm just going to perform to you the most simple routine just so you get the idea of some of the things you can achieve with this. But then throughout the review, I'll tell you more about the intricacies. So you'd introduce this deck of monster cards to your spectators. You could show them all of them. You could ask them if they watch horror movies, if they know all of these monsters, etc. And as you do that, you could just like shuffle the cards while you're talking to them. And then you would instruct them to give the cards a cut. So they just cut the cards. And you tell them to stop whenever they want. So let's say they stop here. Now you can give them the choice if they want to look at the top or bottom card while your back is turned. Let's say they want to look at the top card this time. So they're going to take a look at the top card and they will remember what that is. Now I can't see, so I hope that you see that. They would place that on top and they would cut everything back in the middle. Now you would do it again, maybe to a second spectator, and you'd have him cut and stop whenever he wants. Then let's say this spectator stops here. You ask him, does he want the top or the bottom card? Let's say in this case, he wants the bottom card. So he would take a look at this card, he would remember it, and then you would cut it inside of the deck. So that is what you would do. So now one spectator think of a monster and another of another one. Now you could proceed with the reveal, go over what the monster was, get if there was a movie or a comic or a book. You'd say movie, but maybe a book is more well known for your character, is it not? Then you would go back and forth and you could reveal that the characters that your spectator were thinking of were Jason from Friday the 13th and Frankenstein from the monster from Frankenstein. So that is essentially what the effect, one of the effect is. Very simple, not too complicated, and I think that you kind of get what this is. Right? So it's just some really kind of mentalism effect that you could do with these cards, but not only with these cards. And as much as I like these cards, I'll show them to you in a moment. But before that, let's talk about what you get, where you buy this, and how much does it cost. So you can get this exclusively from ALAKAZAM Magic, and what you get is this little box. Inside of this little box that you pay 30 something pounds for the pro version, this one, and a bit less for the playing card version. I got the pro version, which I think retails for 34 pounds, which is 50 Canadian dollars. So this is this version. I got the big one. And what you get is these cards, which are really well made. They kind of feel like plastic, but they're not plastic. But just look at the art style on this. The art style on these cards are incredible. Like, let's see here. Like, look at the Headless Horseman. These are literally things that you could get like in like a comic book kind of thing. They're incredible. Like the design on these cards is really nice. This one as well I really like, which is Reagan McNeil. So as you can see, these cards are extremely well produced. But on top of that, you get some extra cards as well here. Let me just not show this one. But you get a prediction card that you can use for some other effects, and you get 4 of these cards that let you do kind of a binary system routine, which is very nice. This means that you could have, and the routining of it is brilliant, you could have a spectator think of a monster from any of these 4 cards, okay, without ever saying it out loud. You then proceed to ask him if his monster is on this or this or this. You're going to have some cards here and some cards here. So you see the cards that his monster wasn't on, you're going to pick one monster from there so that you're not thinking of the same. A second spectator will think of a monster from the remaining cards, and then, again, he would not say anything. You would then discard these cards that you would not even use them. You would take a billet or something, a piece of paper, and you would write your prediction. You would place it on the table. You would ask the spectator what they were thinking of. Let's say they say Jason. You say perfect. And you were thinking of a monster as well. You would write down their prediction, place it on the table. For the first time, what was it? Let's say they say the devil. And then you would reveal that before they even said anything, purely thought of monsters, you revealed correctly. So this is one of the things that you can do with these cards, which is really nice. And what this card lets you do, you can do like a red hot mama type routine. You could do like a really cool prediction type routine with this card. It serves different purposes. So on top of all of these props and the box, you also get a tutorial, which is around 3 hours long, which goes over a ton of effects. It goes over the one that I showed you at the start, which is really simple. The one that I talked to you about with the binary system, the red hot mama prediction type of routine. There's cards across, there's any monster at any number. There's a ton of routines here. There's even one really cool prediction one with a phone where you open up your phone, you place a prediction from the start on the spectator's hand, you have a spectator select a card and remember it, you have another spectator just cut to a card and leave it there. You're then able to fully read the mind of the spectator that just thought of a monster, you're able to read his mind, and then the other spectator that chose a card physically and placed it on the table, you show that, oh, he thought of, let's say, the Reagan McNeil from The Exorcist, and you tell them, you remember at the beginning I placed something on your hand. It was a prediction. Can you open it up? When they lift the phone, it's going to be either a Wikipedia page or in my case, an IMDb page for the movie The Exorcist. There's that routine and there's many, many more. So it's fully loaded, almost 3 hours of routines. Now that we know everything about monsters in terms of what we get, let's talk about difficulty. So how difficult is this to perform? In essence, Monsters is incredibly easy. These cards were specifically designed for no memory work. I know some of you may be thinking, is there memory work here? There is none. Now, if you know nothing about horror or horror icons or monsters, there's gonna be a bit of a learning curve, okay? It won't be long because it's so intuitive, but you're gonna have to learn a bit. However, if you know a medium amount, you're gonna get this pretty quickly. I'd say maybe 15 minutes. However, if you know anything about horror icons, you're into horror movies, into the Universal monsters, all the big movies, if you know about them, then there's zero memory work. Like I learned this effect in, I think, the first 30 seconds of Craig just explaining it. I knew exactly what it was. Like I know all my monsters, everything. So to me, this was extremely intuitive. Zero memory work required because you don't have to remember a stack. You can remember a stack if you want. I know the monsters so well, even before owning this effect, that I basically could just do the stack myself without ever needing, any aid. But for the people that don't want to use memory, Craig built a system that is so easy to read. It is so big. It is so intuitive that you do not need anything. Like, look at this. Without my glasses, I can barely see. So like, I'm not even kidding. Like right now for me, these cards are basically blurry. But now if I cut these cards just like this, I can barely even see them. I know that this is the mummy. Okay? And it is. Okay? This is how good the system is. And when I tell you, I can basically, all I see is just some colors. That's how blind I am without my glasses. And I'm still able to read this system. That's how easy and intuitive it is. So he really built this to be super easy. Now there's some routines that use some double lifts or some moves or a few gimmicks, but even then nothing too complicated, is very easy to perform. Now let's talk about practicality. So if you want to perform this effect, similarly to the deceased that we've seen, I would just carry everything around in this box. If not, you can just carry around the pocket-sized version and place it in your wallet and have it ready to go. But I really do like the visual of having the bigger cards. I think it's just more appeasing. Even if it's not for stage parlor, I think having those cards with you bigger makes a bigger impact for your audience as well. But if not, I don't mind carrying it around in this box. So if you buy the big version, you'll probably carry your cards around in this box. In terms of inspectability, the cards are fully inspectable. In terms of repeatability, fully repeatable because there's so many routines you can do with this. If there's like 10 tables at your event, you can do a different effect with these cards at every table. There's not many effect with forces, so the outcomes are always different. In terms of angles, the angles for most of the routines are 360. Some of them it's 180, but there's no real angle issues here. You don't even need a table for most of the effects at all, so you can do it without a table. And yeah, I mean, it's super, super practical. If you want, you can literally just carry around these 4 cards and do like a 5-minute mind reading routine with just 4 cards, which is absolutely great as well, right? So you can just carry those, but practicality wise, a very, very good effect. Moving on to where to perform. So where would you perform monsters? Personally, you can perform monsters anywhere, whether it's table hopping close up, parlor, or cabaret, or stage, or even on Zoom. You can enjoy performing this effect. There's nothing really constraining about this. I would see myself performing this at my gigs at any time because I'm so passionate by horror that to me, this is not just a Halloween trick. This is an everyday thing. Like, I watch horror movies every day. Even during Christmas, I watch horror movies and I'm passionate about them. So this fits me. It's my personality. It's my interest. And it always shines to have a type of effect like this to do to your spectators. Now that we've talked about everything, let's get into the positives and negatives of this effect. Let's start out with the negatives. What are the negatives of monsters? And I'll be honest, there's not any negatives that I can really find with this. I mean, the only negative is that you're not a big fan of horror or horror icons. Don't get this. I mean, if you're not a fan of horror movies at all or anything like that, it's going to show to your spectators. Like, if someone that doesn't know anything about horror comes to me and performs me this effect, and I start questioning him, oh, what did you think of that movie? Do you think that character or whatever? Because I would go into discussion with them, and they're like, oh, I haven't seen it. I'd be like, why are you performing this effect to me if you don't even know who these people are, right? So I think that's the only negative that I can find, is that if you don't know anything about horror icons or horror movies, even if you like this effect, if you're not willing to put in the time to learn more about it, I don't think this is for you. But positive-wise, let's talk about the positive. Super easy to do, diverse, the props are great, the cards are incredible, the routines are really fun, easy to do, can pretty much perform this anywhere. It's practical. The instructional video with Craig is absolutely incredible. There is a lot of good to be said about this. So would I recommend monsters, and what do I rate it out of 10? Do I recommend this effect? I am biased, okay? I think it's pretty clear. Anything with horror icons that has a horror theme, I'm there, you know? Like, I'm biased for horror magic. I love it. It's my personality. So do I recommend this? Yes. If you like horror, just buy this. You will not be disappointed. I heavily recommend it. What do I rate Monsters by Craig Petty out of 10? I'm sorry, but to me it is a 10. Again, I'm biased, okay? I'm biased. So what can I say? You bring out an effect with one of my biggest passions in life. It's so easy to do. It hits hard. And it's mentalism based on top of that. Come on now. This is a 10. This is a winner for me. And I just love this effect. So that's all I have to say about it. Thank you everyone for commenting, liking, and subscribing. And I'll see you all in my next video. Have a good one.